Hi sewing friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Patricia. In this video I will be showing you how I make this beautiful off-the-shoulder maxi dress. Fun fact about this dress, I use a 100% cotton bed sheet and I love it. Please consider joining this sewing family if you are not already subscribed. If you love to sew and love to look expensive making your own clothes, this is the channel for you. Also, don't forget to like, comment and share this video. Now let's get to the video. For this tutorial, you're going to need your fabric of choice and the usual tools, which is your measuring tape, a pair of scissors, tailor's chalk or marker, 3/8 inch elastic, and a straight ruler. For this dress, I started by measuring 15 3/4 inches width on fold and 35 inches in length with a 1/2 inch seam allowance for the front. But I ended up cutting 38.5 inches and I honestly don't know how that happened. So I had to cut that later on when my mind told me what had happened. Isn't it interesting how you realize your mistake after the damage has been caused? Tell me about it. Comment below if this happens to you often, because for me, every time I make a mistake, I always notice it after I have done the mistake. So for the back measurement, I measured 14.25 inches for the width. For the length, I just went ahead to use the already cut front pattern as a guide to cut the back pattern as well. I make sure to mark the cut pieces to differentiate which one is which in order not to get confused. Next is the sleeves. So I realized after cutting the sleeves that I cut the wrong pattern, but I left this part of the video in here to demonstrate what I was talking about in my easy crop top video. I measured about 3/4 inches down from the edge and drew a straight line across. For the top of the sleeve, I measured 15 inches and 20 inches at the hem of the sleeves. I noticed I didn't leave seam allowance, which really for this project doesn't matter because it's oversized and we are using an elastic, but you can add seam allowance if you choose to. And this is what I was referring to in my last video. Because the sleeves tapers at the top, we need to add about 1/2 inch to the part of the sleeve that will fold over like I'm doing, so that when we fold over, there will be no shortage of fabric. I really don't know how to explain this any further, so please just watch what I'm doing. So when I'm done cutting the sleeve and I fold over like so, which would have been the casing if I was going for this pattern, the extra 1/2 inch I added will ensure there's no shortage of fabric when we fold over. This is a method you use when you cut patterns that are tapered, like a pencil skirt, sleeve, hem, etc. I also round the sleeve where it is slanted at the hem, and I really don't measure this, but if you want to, let the length be equal as the opposite side of the sleeve and make sure to cut 2 for the sleeve. I also cut 2 more pieces, which will be the part that I will gather and attach the dress to make it into a maxi dress. I do not show it in the video because it is literally the same as cutting the front and the back of the dress. The only difference is the measurement in length and in width. In total, you should have 6 pieces of fabric, 2 for the main dress, front and back, 2 for the skirt attachment, and also 2 for the sleeves. Next is cutting out the armhole for the front. To do that, I fold the fabric down about 2.5 inches and I measure down 4 inches from the fold of the fabric, and then I measured 3 inches from that mark towards the side seam line. I then connect those marks with my ruler like so. I also measured 1/2 inch at a 45-degree angle from that point like I'm doing. And I used that to connect the 2 lines with the curve as you see me doing. I already went ahead to do the same for the back, and this is where I realized I needed to do the same for the sleeve as well. So this will be the pattern to use for the sleeve if you're making this kind of attachment of the sleeve to the bodice for this particular dress. But if you want to make the sleeves like I did in my easy DIY crop top tutorial, then you can go ahead to use the first example that I just showed for that project. I basically repeat the same steps for the sleeves as I did for the dress itself. You can measure the armhole curve on the sleeve and the bodice to make sure they are equal, and if they are not, you can always cut any excess. I included my seam allowance on both the sleeves and the bodice, and I cut the armhole out. Also, note that this is all being done on fold. We haven't opened the fabric yet. Next, I go ahead to open the fabric pieces for the front and the back, and I put them together with the right sides facing one another, and I pin the sides together, leaving the armhole area. And now I am ready to sew. I also pinned and stitched together the sleeves, and I was ready to attach the sleeves to the bodice after serging. I also pressed the stitch seams to give it a clean look. Next, I pinned the sleeves to the bodice and stitched them together. I always make sure to serge or use a zigzag stitch to finish the raw edges, as well as pressing my seams after sewing them together. After attaching the sleeves to the bodice, I had a little bit of an excess at the top, which I went ahead to cut off, leaving a straight edge to work with. Now it's time to create the casing and the ruffles effect at the neckline. You can either do so by first folding a 1/4 inch and then another 2.5 inches like I'm doing and pin, or you can do this. You can also iron this and then use your iron to help you turn over. Eventually, I want this whole, whatever this is, I want it to be 2.25 because I want a little over 1.5 inch excess. All right, so I've gone ahead to fold and pin the top part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch all around to close this. I'm going to definitely leave an inch for inserting the elastic that we will be using, and then when I'm done, I'm going to sew 1/2 inch from the closing. I'm going to sew 1/2 inch. With that, we are going to close that. We're going to sew that all around, but we definitely have to leave an inch open anywhere you prefer. Also, for the elastic, I measured around the arms and shoulder and chest area to my comfort, and I cut the elastic and inserted it into my casing. And this is what you should get after inserting the elastic, and this process took forever. I also did the same for the sleeves. Now we can move on to the skirt or the gathered portion of the dress. Just like the main bodice, I pinned the front to the back with the right sides facing. I did realize later the skirt portion wasn't wide enough, so I added some more fabric and I ended up with 88 inches in total for that part of the dress. Next, I went ahead to stitch gathering or basting stitches in order to gather the skirt portion. Gathering is an easy technique. At the same time, it is tricky. Comment below if you agree with me. Because I added extra pieces of fabric to this portion of the dress, I had to identify the point where I will be attaching it to the dress. That is why you see me clipping the side. That is just to help me in joining the two pieces together. It's really hard explaining my thought process with you guys, so please bear with me. After I am done with the gathering, I proceed to attach the skirt parts to the rest of the dress, starting from the side seam and aligning the snip part of the skirt to the side seam with right sides facing together. From there, I work my way around the gathers to fit the rest of the dress as you see me doing here. After pinning the two pieces together, it's time to sew them together. Next, I went ahead to hem the dress by first folding in a 1/4 inch and then an inch. I pinned all around the hem and I stitched. I went ahead to serge the part where the gathered portion of the dress meets the rest of the dress. I did also close the casings, which has the elastics, but I did not show that here. I didn't think I had to show that anymore. By now, I'm sure you guys know how to do that. I am so in love with it. I really didn't think I was going to be in love with it for whatever reason, but I really do. And I cannot wait to wear it when the warm weather rolls in. As always, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already for more videos like this. Leave a comment below if you will be making this maxi dress. Let me know what you'd like to see from me and also share my videos. Thank you. Bye.